Shabbat Shalom. One day before the day you called Independence Day, the 4th of July. Listen to the last part of that word. July. July. And Jew do lie. Independence Day, 1776. What does it mean to a Hebrew when they were still using hundreds of their vessels to bring us to these strange lands all through the European slave trade? Independence Day. People send out, celebrate this great holiday. But once I learned what it represented and all the other holidays, I denounced them. I rebuked them. I changed from that old man to that new man. Not in the flesh, but in the spirit. We celebrate holidays because that's what we're taught. We've been brainwashed because that's what we're taught. When you're adapting into a society that never intended you to be part of it, you survive by any means necessary. You're doing it. You're making it, as some of us make it, to exceptional levels of working this great empire that we built. Some reach, and always remember what Thurgood Marshall said himself. This man was a man that fought for us, the education school board and all those stuff, Plessy, Ferguson, those things that he fought against for us. The greatest lawyer, they talk about Johnny Cochran, but this man was exceptional, Thurgood Marshall. He himself made these words and said them in a way that I believed him when he said that accepting the job on the Supreme Court of those 9 men took away more work that he had done in 1 year towards advancing his people to equality in this nation. I was a strong and am a strong believer in his work. I've read all of his work. I've studied his ways. A great man, Thurgood Marshall. They silenced his voice by putting him on the Supreme Court, where they could override the first black to ever be on the Supreme Court. They could override his voice and dominate him and keep him silent, and he was winning every case that were before him, breaking away. You talk about the civil rights movement, Thurgood Marshall movement. Let's get this thing right. I studied him, his work. Great men at W.E.B. Du Bois, a Hebrew Israelite. I studied my people, John Henry Clark. I studied the work of these great historians, these people that denounced the Ashkenazi Jew empire to show and prove that these people are what the scriptures describe from the synagogue of Satan. Most of the great historians will say the same words as Hosea said. My people are destroyed because of the lack of knowledge, and they keep rejecting the same knowledge that has been there for them forever and ever and ever. We stumble as the sheep without the shepherd. Strike the shepherd and the flock will scatter. We have had limited shepherds in our guiding our flocks. Our sheep are scattered. to the four corners of the earth. Only he can gather us and bring us together. He said, I will gather you from the four corners of the earth and bring you into the land that I promise you. And I've said it over and over, no one, not your ships, not bringing people from the far eastern part of Germany to the hemisphere of Russia, to all of those places that these people have never, ever set their foot in that land. We, the Semites, you call them, anti-Semitic, you use terms like that. And people are afraid of you because you intimidate them with your false doctrine. And everybody put their hand on that book. I told you in one of my other videos that the Supreme Court and every court in the land based the foundation, the structure of this land on that book. But they weaned and changed and altered and the laws and put it into the text that they want us to comprehend. They've been lying to you for so long, and you continue to accept it. You've learned enough now to distance yourself from the teaching that we've seen. You know these things, and most of the teachers know these things also. Pastors, evangelicalism is really disappointing. Evangelism, those people that have exceptional gifts, but has reformed to the land, do not conform or do not be like the heathens in the land that you're living in, even though, as we've seen, Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego and Daniel, they never conformed to the ways of the land. They didn't eat those foods that were not what the Most High had given us to be a part of our diet. They didn't do it. And they were healthier than all the others that were captured. We conform to what I said earlier, adapting, surviving in a strange land. We accept and won't accept the knowledge to change from the things that we've been taught. We know it, and you would argue with me and haven't opened up one book because you have taught, remembered from childhood what was told you, these fables that people brainwash you. And I tell you one thing, and I'm going to be honest about this. This movement, the Roman Catholic Church, had more pagan and idol worshipping than any ministry outside of the Muslim, which had 100 gods. 365 gods they had, which represented the times and dates, which is not 365 days in a year, it's 364. But the Islamic movement, the Prophet Muhammad, and the days of the Arabs, their calendar had 365 days, and they had a god for every one of those days. And the most popular god that they had at Allah, that the prophet, they called him Muhammad. And we know for a fact that in the scriptures it say that only Israel had prophets, only. And did you hear any other prophets in Israel? I mean, in the Quran that they speak on, or the Islamic movement, or the Muslim faith? Nothing. That is a made-up religion, just like Roman Catholic. That's a made-up religion. A bunch of pagan idol worshiping people. We, the children, don't worship, and we don't do the thing like I see a lot of my Hebrew brothers wearing this star. They call it the Star of David. There is no Star of David. There is a key of David, but there is no Star of David. Let's stop listening to these people that have given us this false doctrine, altered the things from days when Constantine took out so many of the true books and called them apocrypha, not canonized, because of the European wanting to alter and rewrite and couldn't. Kind of remember like Donald Trump tried for years when President Obama was in office to get rid of the Affordable Care, the Obama Act. Couldn't do it because their mind couldn't conjure up the thought of how to do these things, how to make it balance off for everybody. When a man is given a gift, that's the benefit of others, no matter what his faith, religion. The Most High can use them in many ways. He used a lot of the so-called adversaries, Alexander the Great, to do things that were in the scriptures that kept us going forward to understanding our identity. Many people have done that to continue for us to grow and to learn our identity in a strange lands. And they've done it. Cyrus the Great, they've all done it. Nebuchadnezzar wrote the 4th book in Daniel about his downfall because of his big belief in his own idea of him being a god. And the Most High put him out there and made him like a wild beast. And the dew was upon him for those 7 years. Understand the Most High used whoever he wants. He can tell you what you want to do. He can change what you want to do. He'll do what he has to do to continue the mission that he gave us as his chosen children. I'm immensely blessed and not afraid of anything because I know that we are the chosen children. I'm not going to let you steal my identity. I'm not going to fabricate and try to appease you and tell you and let you tell me that we don't exist. And I know for a fact where you came from. When I talk, I hope that most of you out there, when you hear me talk, don't feel that I'm going from a topic to a topic. I just feel that you graduated to a level. And many of the people in the ministry that we teach understand and can comprehend the word of the Most High because it's given to his chosen children to comprehend, to articulate, to be able to say that I will continue your ways. Every era of the scriptures, you see the changes because the scriptures change from different authors because the Bible is written, the scriptures are written over 60 different authors. But in the 66 books of the King KJV, they say it's over 40 authors. But we know and research our people. We have in our ministry ourselves, not taking the word of others, that when someone tells you something, it came from a source that you will not even research to validate the legitimacy of it. Is it legit? Do you really go and research to find out? Is that the true doctrine? We are a teaching ministry. We are validating the word of the Most High. We praise him because he's jealous. He wants no others before him. I've spoken on 1776 Independence Day. I've spoken on any and everything there is to discuss. I've told you things by not my will, his books. He said, I'm going to give you a tongue, a language, when he put us in captivity, when he sent us into this strange land. He said, but I'm going to give you a language that you will find your way back to me. And we're doing that. Millions upon millions of Hebrews around the world are finding their way back to him via teaching the Aramaic, the way that it was written. The only language was one language. In the beginning of time, before the flood, it was one language. Before the Tower of Babel, it was one language. And from the tribes, when he confound those from each tribe and scattered them upon the face of the globe, that's when we have now over 2018 different languages. I research to prove that I am worthy to teach and validate his name. Don't give me your man-made validated information that you came up with. Do the honest work. Do the walking. Do the lifting. Do the pulling. Do the grabbing. Do the stretching, the extension. Go far as you can to serve him. In your name, Father, the Son Yeshua, HaMashiach, I say to you, until Shalom return, Shabbat Shalom.